Chris, thanks so much for sitting here to tell us your story. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So give us a little bit of your background.
Born and raised in Utah. Great area to be very outdoor oriented and active and was.
Yeah.
So I've been very involved in sports and the outdoors and my whole life. And in doing so was probably pretty hard on my body. I played college football. I did a lot of hiking and a lot of things. And playing tennis, I started to realize that I am really in a lot of pain.
And where were you feeling the pain?
In my knees,
Both
mainly.
knees?
And I thought, after a while it got to be to where I couldn't really exercise. I tried to play tennis. I tried to wrap it up, and it just got unbearable. And so I first went to see an orthopedic specialist just to see what it was, got x-rays. They looked at it, and my left knee was bone on bone. There was nothing to impede the grinding of bones and the pain. It got to be to where I could hardly walk.
Wow.
And I just thought, I have got to do something about this. So talking to them, kind of traditional medical approaches was, you're really where we can try some injections of kind of different types of protein things that are out there on the market. We've seen marginal results, et cetera. Tried that, no effect really. The next step was knee replacement. I was like, no.
Yeah, it's a fairly radical procedure.
Yeah, and I've had friends that have gone through it with some good results, others not. It just seemed like such an invasive way to go about dealing with my pain, and I just wasn't sold on it. So just kind of randomly had heard, I'd known about stem cell, but I didn't really know where it came from, how it worked, what would be the process, and just kind of real randomly, is the only way I can put it. I actually, on something on my phone, saw a little thing, East West Health, there's a seminar, and it was like, really? That's so unconventional.
Yeah.
Especially for me, and I'm a bit of a cynic. I mean, everybody's got something to sell.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'm in a lot of pain, and I haven't found anything else that does any better job of remediating it. So I went and sat in on it and had all the kinds of questions that you have with something new. I mean, I was fascinated by the organic and natural nature of it. I thought, if this really works, this is amazing. Why haven't we been doing this for years?
Right. What were some of the questions you had?
Well, is it real? Is it snake oil? I mean, it's not from a doctor, so how could it really be approved and really work? We're trained to think that way.
Sure.
That if you can't go to the pharmacist and pick something up to remediate your pain, it must not be really real.
Right.
So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I'll think about it. Because it's kind of, it's not an inexpensive process. So you really, in my case, it was like you really got to be all in.
And you're paying out of pocket for this, right? Because
Yeah.
the insurance doesn't cover
Yeah.
it.
So it's like, but I just had a feeling that their kind of holistic approach to it, not just the origin of where these stem cells come from, but the whole conversation about changing my diet and getting inflammatory foods out of it so that I'm not defeating the value of these stem cells. Acupuncture, something I'd never tried, never heard of. I mean, I'd heard of, but not on me.
Right.
That it's all kind of being done together.
And that was kind of the approach. It wasn't just saying, hey, we're just doing a straight injection and we'll see what happens.
Good luck.
But it's kind of like incorporating multiple things at once to try to get your body to heal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, well, that seems really rational, and also the other thing was, a big component of it was your attitude. And your
Well, talk to me about that. What do you mean about your attitude?
Well, I mean, not to kind of be quirky about it, like a belief system thing, but it really kind of is. I think your mind has an amazing effect on how things work in your body.
Well, in traditional medicine, you either do controlled clinical trials, and a part of that control is placebo.
Right.
What you believe will impact and can impact the outcome.
Yeah.
So sure, that makes sense.
So I went ahead with it. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try because the alternatives for me were not great.
Right.
And it was like, you know, I'm willing to try this. What, you know, aside from money, what do I have to lose?
Right.
So I did, you know, and a couple of weeks in and the diet and stuff. And worst case, it was a very expensive weight loss clinic.
Right.
Because I was eating better, I
Yes.
felt better. And it was like, but my knee's still limping along. But it was like, well, yeah, but I mean, these are little, I mean, there's a couple of million of these in my knee trying to figure out what they need to fix.
Right.
And so I'm buying in.
So was there a expectation set for how long it might be before you start to notice any effect?
Yeah, they told me probably 4 to 6 weeks. So that helped because it was like, well, you know, do the diet, do the acupuncture, try to remain positive, right? And all of a sudden, about 4 weeks in, I'm thinking, I really feel like something different is going on in there. 6 weeks, even better.
Wow.
You know, I went from, on a scale of 1 to 10, pain being in the 8, 9
Wow, that high
range.
Were you taking
it was
medication to try to?
Yeah, like, you know, things over the counter things, but I didn't want to take anything that was prescribed for pain.
Right.
So I realized, though, that there were some very natural remedies for anti-inflammatory things. And so I started to use those as I was changing my diet and as these little stem cells were starting to work. You know, I had to kind of lay off physical activity for a bit, but pretty soon I was walking without a lot of pain, and it was, you know, 3-4 months in, I'm feeling like this really works.
Wow.
I can feel a difference. You know, I was down more in the maybe 3-4 range, where occasionally it'd be kind of, my knee would be kind of stiff and sore, or I'd stand a certain way, but it progressively improved to where this was 10 months ago.
Okay.
So, you know, 6-7 months in, I felt like I was 10 years ago.
Wow.
With the way I was able to move, the pain. I mean, I'm 61, so it's sometimes you kind of expect to have
And
pain
isn't that
and
what's put in
discomfort.
your head? It's like, oh, well, you're getting old. That's,
Yeah,
you know, so
it's just part of the deal.
Live with it. Yeah.
It's not part of the deal. It's really not.
Wow.
And there are some really natural options I found.
Yeah. So 10 months in now, are you active again? I mean, are you playing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So talk about that.
Probably last 3-4 months ago, I started playing tennis again, elliptical. I'm able to exercise, and that was one of the detriments. Was my knees hurt so bad I couldn't exercise.
And that starts the whole downward spiral. You stop
yeah.
exercising, weight comes on,
Yeah.
and then, more pressure on the knees.
Absolutely. And you know, you just don't feel good about yourself. You feel lazy and kind of heavy.
And that's one of the things that talking to many patients now through this process and kind of finding out what their experience is. A lot of them say that, hey, once it started going downhill, the constant pain and the lack of exercise and movement created sort of a depression for them. Did you notice anything like that?
Oh yeah, this was a life changer. I mean, it was like, and I'm an upbeat guy. I'm very active and very positive, and it was like, this is dragging me down. Yeah. Not just physically, but it was just like, there were so many activities. I couldn't ski. I couldn't wakeboard. There were things I was so used to always being able to do, and it was just, that was depressing.
Yeah, I guess it would have to be. So now, 10 months in, you're able to challenge the knee. I mean, you're playing tennis and doing, activities, and it's still holding up. You're, at this point, you're still seeing that your pain is way low and you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, and that was the cool part was I expected there, at least I can do it, but I'll probably pay the price.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
probably be hurting for a few days.
Yeah.
Not really.
Wow.
Not really. Not any more than, if I was completely healthy, let's say.
Yeah.
You're older, you get stiffer,
Yeah.
whatever. So I believed in this so much that, because I thought, if it can grow bone on bone, like bone on bone,
Mm-hmm.
if it had a little bit of a base that it's built up over these 10 months. So I came back in just a couple of weeks ago and had a booster in my left knee and kind of a preventative in my right knee,
Wow.
which isn't experiencing a lot of pain yet, but it's where my left knee was probably 2 years ago.
So basically getting ahead of it, was a good
I think
idea.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
And it forced me back on the diet, which is good.
Yeah, that is good. Any downsides? Is the procedure itself painful at all?
No, a little bit of pressure. And acupuncture isn't painful, which is hard for me to understand. But it really, I'm starting to kind of sense how it works now that I've done it enough times. And I think somehow, some way between all of it, the way it works, for me, it's been an incredible journey. And it's emotional a little bit because I got my life back,
Yeah. Yeah, and that should be emotional. I mean, because it's not just a matter of being alive; it's being able to live, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm very appreciative of the fact that you're willing to come and share your story and understand, the depth of the impact it had on you, and hopefully it can impact other people. It's interesting, because I always walked into this a bit, skeptical. I wonder, what's really here, et cetera. And I'm talking to people like you, and I'm finding out, wow, there's lives really being changed every day.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
It's a very credible solution. Now anytime I start to feel like, my shoulder or whatever, it would be the first solution I would go to now because I just feel like it's such a natural, organic kind of solution to our health and to manage pain.
Well, that's terrific. Well, I very much appreciate you sharing your story, and I wish you ongoing activity in your life and pain-free activity.
Yeah.
And I'm sure now that you're on the right path for what you need.
Yeah, I got my life back, and I can live it. Yeah. I can live it the way I want to live it. I'm not through hiking. I'm not through playing sports, working out. That's what keeps us young, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.